I'm very happy to be here this afternoon with Gail Lewis again, presenting on mentoring, how to find a mentor and make the relationship an asset to your professional growth. Thank you, Gail, for being here with us. You can go to the next slide. The next one. In case you're not familiar with the Center for Women of New York helps women overcome financial, violence, social, wellness, and legal issues by raising awareness and advocating for full gender equality for women, understanding their needs, and connecting them with CWNY services, nonprofit partner organizations, and public resources to aid, uplift, and address their challenges. The current services that we offer are referrals and advocate program. So if you don't know that if we offer a service, you can ask us and we will send you in the right direction. We have a financial literacy workshop series, and that's monthly, virtually on the third Wednesday of the month. We have the career workshop series, which is the first Tuesday. You're in it now. The Women in Crisis support group, caregiver support group for those of us who take care of elderly family members. We just had the one-on-one tax preparation assistance that we have every March and April. We have a gardening and sustainability workshop in person in our Bayside location in Fort Totten. And it's pretty therapeutic to do gardening there. So join us if you are able to. We have a conversational ESL class that's also virtual. A legal support team that will respond to your inquiries via email. Yoga classes on Wednesdays and Thursdays, also at our Bayside location. Self-esteem workshops monthly. We don't have it this month because we have our gala on May 11th. If you are looking to come and learn about the center and support the center, please come to our gala. Everything is on our website, CWNY.org. And we just started 3 months ago our Women's Issues Think Tank, which it's like a big part of our mission. We want to discuss, learn, and also take actions about women's issues. Thank you, Lana. If you would like to watch any of our past events that we had virtually, such as this one, you can find them at cwny.org/past-events. And you can watch any of our webinars. This one will be up in a couple of weeks. So feel free to come back and watch if you want to review any of the information. And now I'd like to welcome Gail Lewis. Thank you again for bringing such important topic to our audience. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Cecilia, and thanks to everyone at the Center for the Women of New York. It's always my pleasure to be here with you, and today is no exception. So today we're going to be talking about mentoring, which is a beautiful thing. So we'll get started with that. I will share my screen for you. Right. So today we're talking about finding a mentor for advice and career advancement. It's an interactive workshop, so feel free to ask questions as you have them. You can put them in the chat or you can raise your hand. I am Professor Gail Lewis. I'm a professor at CUNY. I teach English and Communications, and it's my pleasure once again to be here today with the Center for the Women of New York. So let's get started about finding a mentor for advice and for career advancement. As always, I'm going to ask that question, who gets hired and who gets ahead? Well, as far as who gets hired, people with excellent credentials get hired, people who have great experience in whatever industry it is, and also people who have great educational credentials as well. Additionally, people who get hired and people who get ahead, people who get advanced, are people who perform on the job. And these are people who bring in revenue if it's that type of business, and also people who excel in their overall performance. And lastly, who gets hired and who gets ahead? Well, As far as who gets ahead in the workplace, people who have guidance and people who get great advice are people who get ahead in the workplace. And those are the people we're going to talk about today, specifically how we can all be in that group of people who get ahead by good guidance and good advice. So again, I'm going to ask that question. What do you have agency over? What are you in control of? In the workplace, you may not have control over everything in your career, but a mentor can help you navigate new or unfamiliar parts of your work life. And a mentor can help assist you in achieving your professional goals. So having a mentor is really important. It's one of the things you can control. So today, we are going to talk about mentoring. We're going to first start by looking at who exactly a mentor is. I think we hear that word a lot thrown around, so we'll start with the basics. Who is a mentor? Then we'll move on to how to find a mentor. And then lastly, we'll look inside ourselves and figure out exactly how to be a good mentee. That's a person who is being mentored. So let's start by looking at who exactly a mentor is. A mentor is an experienced professional who informally guides a less experienced person in their professional endeavors. A mentor can help you navigate the workplace when you change industries. Maybe you were in accounting before, and now you're moving into sales. Sales might be brand new to you, even though you have a lot of experience in working and in the workplace. In that situation, a mentor would be very valuable. Additionally, if you change jobs mid-career or if you're just brand new to the workplace, a mentor's advice can be invaluable. Whether you're new to the job, whether you're older, or whether you're young, mentoring is important. I think a lot of times we think of mentors as someone who is advanced in age, kind of mentoring someone who's a lot younger. But mentors and mentees can be of any age, just depending on where you are in the cycle of your work life, in your career. So now that we've looked at who mentors are, why is that important? I mean, why is it important to have someone give you unsolicited advice? It's important to have a mentor for several reasons. According to the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania, companies promote employees who have mentors 5 times more often. Additionally, people who serve as mentors are promoted, get this, 6 times more than people who do not serve as mentors. So both being a mentor and having a mentor gets you way ahead of the pack. So when you are looking for a mentor as part of your sales pitch, basically, to someone to serve as your mentor, remember that. Remember that people who serve as mentors are 6 times as often as likely to be promoted as people who do not serve as mentors. Additionally, people or employees who have mentors in the long run earn more money. Additionally, they are better socialized in the workplace. They are more productive as well in the workplace. They experience less overall stress in the workplace too. And lastly, of course, people with mentors get promoted quicker than people who do not have mentors. So you can see having a mentor is very important. So now that we've looked at who mentors are and why they are so invaluable, let's look at how we can each find a mentor in the workplace. A mentor can serve as a sounding board for ideas. So let's say that you have a new idea for something in your workplace. You can first try that idea out on your mentor to see how it goes over. And then, of course, your mentor can give you advice about how to tweak that idea so that when you share it with your boss or your coworkers, it can be the best that it can be. So a mentor can serve as that kind of sounding board for ideas. And also a mentor is someone safe to be vulnerable with about your career and to get advice. Maybe you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable because you aren't really self-assured about a project that you're working on. And maybe you can share that trepidation, that lack of confidence that you have in the project that you're working on with your mentor. Your mentor would be valuable in giving you the confidence boost that you need, in guiding you through that project so that you can be the best you can be. A mentor can give honest feedback and support during stressful situations. So a mentor can be just like your rock at work. So where should you look for a mentor? You can find a mentor using 3 distinct steps. There's an ambulance going by, I'll let that go. Using 3 distinct steps. First, know your goals. Know both your short-term goals and your long-term goals. Second, ask yourself, who do you look up to? And third, work your existing network. So let's look at each of these 3 steps to finding a mentor. First, know your goals. The first step in getting a mentor is to ask yourself some questions about what you want to accomplish professionally. What do you want to accomplish in your career in the next 3 months? What do you want to accomplish in your career in the next 3 years? Do you see yourself becoming a key holder, a manager, a supervisor, or maybe opening a business of your own in that same industry? Start by making a list of where you want to be in your career in the next few years. Now, this is really important because a lot of times, most of us just get so overwhelmed and so stressed and so tired just daily with the daily tasks of life, everything that we have to get done every single day. So we are so incredibly engulfed in what we're doing that we don't take time to look at where we're going to be or in what direction we want to be going. So this is really important because we just get so caught up in just getting through the day or getting through the week or just getting through the month that we don't have time to reflect on how we see ourselves professionally in the future. So you want to start by taking an entire week and a few hours every day, just add to your list of the way that you would like your professional path or career to go. Envisioning your dreams this way allows you to break your ideas down into individual goals that are easier to accomplish with short-term steps. So be reflective. Take a week and every day just add to your list of where you see yourself professionally in the upcoming months, in the upcoming year, in the upcoming 5 years. That's your first step, to know your goals. Next, ask yourself, who do you look up to? So whose job would you like to have in the next 5 years? Whose job would you like to have in the next 10 or 15 years? Is this person in your workplace or is it someone outside of your workplace? Who is your immediate role model where you work? Make a list, again, add to that list of the jobs and the people you are visualizing when you think of yourself 5 years, 10 years in the future professionally. Add this list to your list of goals. So first you've got your goals, Then specifically, think about people who you admire their careers and add them to the list as well. And write down why you admire their careers, because maybe because they're a manager or a supervisor, or maybe because they've gone back to school, whatever it is, make that list. Who do you look up to and why? Next, do a little bit of research. So do some research to find people whose careers you admire and where they are. So these are people who work in other places and other jobs than you work at. Since they probably don't work where you do, you may or may not be able to ask those people to be your mentor. But you want to ask yourself when you do your research, what are the stepping stones that they took to get where they are? So maybe you admire the CEO of Carol's daughter. They make hair products. So maybe you do a lot of research into her and you figure out how she started, what her background is, how she opened her business, how she ran her business. Just look at the trajectory or the direction of how she got to where she is and make note of that. That is information that you can use as well. Take notes on those paths that those people took to get to where they are today. That's really important research. So now these can be people that you just admire from afar, maybe CEOs or people who started their own companies, or these can be people within your own workplace, but do that research. Then after you've done that research, think about who is in your workplace. So the more aware someone already is of your work and abilities, the more effective they will be at mentoring you. So if there's someone in your workplace who already is kind of informally mentoring you, you can ask them to be your mentor. You can ask them to help you. If someone is not aware of your work, or if you've never talked to them, look for some kind of connection. And then this is where that research comes in as well. Look for a connection. Maybe they started right where you were. Maybe they're from the same place you're from. Maybe they had children just like you have children. Just look for some sort of connection before you talk to them. And that way, if you do reach out to them to be your mentor, you have a place to start, a commonality that you can talk about, and then you can introduce the idea of them becoming your mentor. Make sure that the people who you are considering being your mentor have the expertise that you're looking for. So for example, let's say that you've just gotten hired as an accountant. Your best scenario would be finding a mentor who works in your department, maybe someone who's been there for a very long time, someone who has a lot of experience with the company and with accounting. That would be your best case mentor. But let's say there isn't someone like that in your direct area, in your direct work station. What you could do is just go outside of that and find someone who works in accounting somewhere else, or find someone at your work site who works in a different division but understands accounting. So sometimes you got to get a little bit of creative. You might not find someone right in your immediate work group, but if you don't give up. You can reach outside of your work group to people who understand the scope of your work, or you can reach outside of your business, your company, and look for someone who would understand your work as well. But don't give up on trying to find a mentor either way. It's way too important. Then, after you have found someone or more than one person perhaps that you think would be a good mentor for you, after you've looked at their background, you've thought about where you want to be in the next month, year, and years, and you've seen that the movement of their career is kind of congruent or the same as where you want your career to go, ask. Now's the time to ask. But before you ask, make sure that they're the right fit for you. You can feel them out by just kind of maybe sitting down with them informally, maybe over coffee or on Zoom or on FaceTime, and just kind of feeling them out a little bit first before the ask. And also mention what you like about their work when you sit down informally, especially if there's someone outside of your immediate work group who you do not know. Let's say that your boss introduced you to a possible mentor and neither of you knows each other. Do some research about the possible mentor's work and then open with that when you talk to them. That will show that you've done research and that you're thoughtful and that you respect them as well. So got to get this done before you ask. And then the first time you sit down with someone, just kind of feel them out. Make sure that they would be open to being a mentor and just kind of ask them general questions so that you can make sure that they are the right fit for you. When you do get to the actual ask of asking someone to be your mentor, tell them specifically what you've gotten out of that past conversation or conversations with them. And again, this was that informal sit down that you had with them, maybe on FaceTime or Zoom, or maybe over coffee. When you ask, be clear about how often you want to meet with them, how long you want to meet with them each time, and make sure that these time constraints work for them. You can always reassess later, but make sure the idea of how much time you want to spend with your mentor is okay with your mentor. So you might start by saying, can we get together on FaceTime, maybe every Tuesday for 15 minutes between 1 and 1:15? But you want to be clear about how much time and how often you would like to meet. And that's just for both of you. A mentor is going to be hesitant to be your mentor if they're not sure of what kind of time commitment you're asking for. Additionally, be clear about mention that you will put together an agenda that aligns with your goals prior to each meeting. Putting together an agenda before a meeting shows that you have respect for your mentor's time and that you've thought about this. Okay, during this 15-minute meeting, these are the things I want to ask about, so that your mentor knows what to expect. So an agenda is a really great way to keep on track and also to show respect for your mentor's time. Here's the thing, we're all busy, right? Juggling family and work life and every other thing. So we're all busy. So you should approach asking your mentor fully aware that they might say no. And if they do say no, that's okay. If they say no, just remind them that you really admire them and thank them for their consideration. And then that way it leaves the door open for maybe later on them coming back and saying, hey, I'll be your mentor. Maybe right now they have a lot of work to get done, or maybe they have incredible family obligations right now. So maybe right now isn't a good time for them, but things might free up in the future. So you want to always leave that door open for them to come back and say, to reconsider you. So be clear when you ask. Additionally, read the signs. If your potential mentor is swamped with new projects at that moment, maybe right now isn't the time for them to be a mentor for you. So just read the signs. If it's someone who you know has just taken on a new project or projects at work, maybe you won't want to ask them at that time to be your mentor. If your potential additionally, if your potential mentor has a report or a project due at the same time every month, or at the same time every quarter, don't schedule your meetings at that time. So if you know the third Thursday of every month is a big, they have a big meeting that they run, don't schedule your mentoring meeting for that day, or maybe for a few days prior to that either. So just read the signs when it comes to your mentor. Do the research and read the signs. So now that we've looked at the ask, we've looked at how to find a mentor and how to ask your mentor. There's a lot of responsibility that goes along with that as well in being a good mentee. A mentee is the person who is being mentored. So you always want to be a good mentee. A mentor is taking their time, their energy, their experience, and their knowledge, and they're giving it to you. So you want to be a good mentee in return. How can you do that? First, keep your goals in mind. If you mention your specific achievable goals from the beginning of the relationship, it's a guide for your mentor, and they can make sure that you keep on track with every meeting. Also, meet consistently. Figure out how often you want to meet and using what channel, so Zoom or FaceTime or in person or a regular phone call, whatever it is. Figure out how long, how often, and the method you'd like to meet, and make it consistent. Also, send out calendar invites so that that time is blocked off on their calendar. Next, set an agenda. Before each meeting, send out that agenda. Is there a new project that you're working on? Maybe you want feedback on that. Are you trying to ask for a promotion? Maybe you're looking for a raise. Ask your mentor for advice, put it on the agenda. Additionally, to be a good mentee, be open to feedback, whether it's positive or whether it's not so positive or more constructive. Sometimes it can be hard to take a compliment. Sometimes it can be hard to look back and appreciate your own work. And sometimes you've got to be open to hearing tough feedback. So remember, you're not always going to hear exactly what you want to hear, but always be open to the message, whether it's good feedback or not so good feedback. Additionally, when you are meeting with your mentor, take notes. That way you can follow up on whatever they ask you to follow up on, and you can follow up via email as well. That's going to help your busy mentor stay on track and know what to focus on with you over the course of the next few months or years. And also, lastly, remember that this relationship is not therapy. Make and keep some boundaries with your mentee. Personal issues are always going to come up in the mentee-mentor relationship, and it's okay. Also, it's okay to vent, right? We all have a lot of issues at work, so it's okay to vent to your mentee as well. But make sure that you are not monopolizing your mentoring sessions with personal issues or making it all only about venting. So make sure that you stick to your agenda. And this is so important. Pay it forward. Now that you've gotten a mentor and you're being mentored very well, think about that when you've gotten some experience yourself. When there are new hires, think about being a mentor to them. Remember your own newness and maybe get involved with a new hire once you've been mentored for a little while. Always think to yourself, how can I be of service to that next generation of hirees? So let's review what we talked about today about mentoring. Today, we explored first who mentors are, why they are so important. Then we looked at how to find a mentor. We did a lot of list making about our own goals. And then we did some research about other people whose careers we admire. And then we looked around, we found mentors, and then we did the ask. And then lastly, and importantly also, is we learned how to be a good mentee. We learned about setting an agenda, keeping our appointments, and making sure that we follow up as well. If you have any questions, you can feel free to put them in the question box or the chat box, and I can answer them for you. And I see that Pam has a question for us. Are there any personality traits she should look for in choosing a mentor? That's a great question, Pam. Thank you for that. Yes, there are some personality traits that you should look for. Look for someone who is generally organized, someone who seems confident in their work, confident in their workplace, and also someone who seems as if, or through your research, you see that they are self-assured about their job, and generally happy in their workplace. And these are things that you can kind of feel out through those informal conversations with your prospective mentor. So just make sure, I guess in general, that they are generally positive about their work and positive about the workplace, and also that they're not too overwhelmed with their own projects.
If I can
So
add,
that's a review, and we have another question. Oh yeah, you can also raise your hand. Thanks, Cecilia. If there's any other questions, you can either raise your hand or put them in the chat or use the Q&A. So remember, being a good mentee is really important as well. Victoria, did you have a question?
I wanted to also add to Pam's question, to your response to her question, that sometimes organizations, companies have built-in mentors. They actually have the mentor job description. So that's one.
Mhm.
And through HR, you may have professional development workshops. Sometimes external companies are hired, sometimes internal. Both can serve as mentors.
Mhm.
And those that step up and volunteer to give workshops, they love to teach. So I believe those are built-in mentors, and they at the end of each workshop they'll give their contact information. So I suggest to Pam, when you see someone is passionate about a topic, you attend that training, write down what the topic was and the date. And later on, if you remember something they taught, something they had an expertise about, you can refer back and say, so and so, I remembered you gave a workshop on such and such, and you mentioned that you would be available to help out later on. So I'm reaching out. I have this question for you. So that
Mhm.
also honors them. You remembered the topic, you remembered the date, and you remembered to reach out.
Oh, that's great advice. Thank you, Victoria. Are there any other questions? Oh, okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for mentoring. Oh, Andrew, do you have a question? You can put it in the chat, or let's see. Aletta has a great question as well. Andrew, go ahead.
Yes, hi. I have a rather unusual question that I wonder what you might suggest. I have a JD degree that I got many years ago, and not admitted to the bar. At this point, I did other things. I had, unfortunately, my mother had been ill for many years, so I really didn't pursue it. Now at this point, I'm interested in pursuing the legal field, and I've hit major obstacles in terms of people, my age. People look at it, they don't take it seriously. And how would I go about possibly finding a mentor? I mean, there's good mentoring programs that the school offers for recent graduates, but certainly not somebody that's, been graduated many years ago. And also, I'm really not sure what area in the legal field might be suitable and might be appropriate for me at this point. So how would I possibly go about finding a mentor at this stage?
That's a great question. Thank you, Andrew, for that. There's a few avenues that you can go down with this.
Okay.
What law school did you attend?
Hofstra.
Great. So that's an excellent place to start. Like you said, there's a lot of outreach that Hofstra does. I'm a Hofstra alum too. So
You are
go
really?
Pride. Yes, go
What
Pride.
what
Undergraduate.
area?
Undergraduate, not
All
the law
right.
school.
I'm undergraduate also, so
Oh my goodness, go
you're
Pride.
right there.
So they have an excellent outreach program there. So always the first place you want to go back to is your alma mater, the place you graduated from. Go back to the Hofstra Law School, ask them for some career advice. Tell them your situation, enroll yourself. I don't know if this point, you did say you want to take the bar. So ask them for any free programs that they might know of, that they might even sponsor, that where you can get into, that you can do some review for the bar, because that's going to be a lot to do. So you want to get started with that first and foremost. And then also ask at Hofstra if there's any faculty, or if there's any, they don't call them job training. I forget what they call them at Hofstra, but they do have a department that helps you in getting a job. So go to that department. I forget what it's called. Maybe you can help me out.
I think it's called career services.
Career
But
services. There you go. Exactly.
I will give you a
Yeah.
little bit of background. I've been involved as an alumni, with the law school at, with a lot of the programs that they've had. They have a career services committee that I'm part of. So your ideas are really good, and I've done that. However, what the reality of it is that the focus of the career services is predominantly on
New lawyers, right?
recent graduates,
Yeah.
that they're really very concerned about the percentage of graduates that have full-time hired. So that's where their emphasis, and I understand that. The other problem is that not being admitted
Right.
is not considered a positive thing by a law school, or particularly the career services committee or career services department. So I haven't even publicized that, and I wouldn't necessarily want to,
So
because it's not, it's not looked, because I can't begin to tell you the emphasis they put on people passing the bar.
Yeah,
So
I can imagine.
it puts you in a little bit into a corner there.
What I would suggest also, Andrew, and I don't know if you really want to hear this, but you remember how I talked about making those lists? Maybe you can do a little bit of research into, and I know you really want to be a lawyer, and I am not dissuading you from that goal. In the meantime, while you are looking to pass the bar, while you are looking to study for that, if you can make a list of things that you would like to do with your degree that do not involve working as a lawyer. So you can use your JD degree in a different capacity. So that would be things like teaching college. A JD goes such a long way in academia. You could teach at a community college or at a four-year school, and that more than qualifies you for that. And then there's a lot of other areas that you could use that degree in before you pass the bar. So you could be doing great work right now while studying for the bar. So I don't want the fact that you're older to dissuade you at all, because these webinars are always filled with people who are at different points in their careers. So younger people, older people. So don't let that dissuade you. But I do want you to make a list of other things that you can do with that JD while you study for that bar exam. Does
Tho-
that sound
those are
like
great.
something you can do?
Yes, those are great ideas. I wanted to ask you, you really, like I said, you really have a lot of terrific ideas. Will I be able to contact you at the school and maybe we can go a little more in detail in terms of
Sure,
what?
my email address is right on the screen. You can always contact me.
Okay, do you have a phone extension there also?
Email is always, I'm really good about my email, so feel free to email me.
Okay, all right. Because what's happened is I've thought about that and I've applied for things. Like I've taken a lot of civil service exams in the past few years. And they've told me more than once that I'm really completely overqualified with the jobs. And those aren't the kind of jobs at my stage in life that I really would feel comfortable doing. There's too much structure. There's too, it's just not the right fit for somebody at my point. So it's a bit of a quandary as to what really I could do with the JD degree. That's another.
Andrew, have you considered research for law firms? They could be remote positions and in-person positions, and also paraprofessionals,
Paralegals.
and I guess the decision you'd have to make is which field of law are you most interested? So that could add to your list making. What aspect of law are you interested? And then research those large law firms that need people to do the background research for them.
And like
if
you
I
said,
may-
They
Victoria,
pay very well. They pay very well, those research positions.
and you can do those, like you said, remotely as well.
And I just want to, like, I think the answers that Gail gave you and the additions that Victoria made are very valuable. I also want to recognize that the issue that you encounter, Andrew, you're not alone. It is a challenge sometimes, and I just want to acknowledge that because it's a real, it's like, I guess I want to reassure you that it's not you. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the person. It is an issue that many have, and we do get the same question over and over in these workshops. And I'm so thankful for Gail because she always has these great ideas, and sometimes it's like something that you may think about or not, but like you just need to hear. Like there are options, and sometimes you're looking in one direction, and she's so good at like opening up, like options for us. But you're not alone. This is an issue that many people go through. And because like younger generations are what is the word that I'm looking for? It's when you like transfer skills. The young people, like a lot younger than I, they know how to do that so well, but we're not used to that. We're not used to that because it used to be that you get into a field and you don't change careers or you don't change jobs so often. But now, like, people transfer their skills and go into fields they never thought they could. So I guess I encourage you to think that way, and I'm sure you'll find your path.
You know what happened? What you say is so true. Many times I'll see a position or a job and I say, well, gee, oh, I can do this. And the roadblock that I've hit is that they've immediately asked for a resume. What is the previous experience you have doing this? And I don't have that solid work experience. I can't say I was at A for 5 years doing this, this, and this. So
you know what I will recommend, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but like you're saying that our resume writing workshop in the same series has amazing tips for the resume, and it talks mostly about that your resume should be really targeted to whatever company, whatever firm that you're applying to. And you first go and learn what they're looking for, and you tweak your resume. And sometimes it's a matter of wording, and the same experience can be looked at as valuable or not valuable depending on the words you use. And I know that's silly, but that's a way, that it kind of works psychologically for people who are hiring. So I would recommend that you go on our website and look for the resume writing, or the YouTube channel. You look for the resume writing workshop, which is like very informative and valuable for many. So
And
let
also,
us know. Yes.
I'm sorry. Also, Cecilia, I don't mean to cut you off. maybe you can put the link for the YouTube channel in the chat for him.
Absolutely.
And Andrew, Aletta, who actually had a couple of good suggestions for you as well. Maybe consider working at the law library. That's along what Victoria said about research. And also visit that public library, because there's a lot of really great resources there. And just to answer Aletta's question, she asked, how does this relate to choosing a mentor outside of the workplace? That's a really good question as well, Ms. Aletta. We all need mentors at work, of course, but another place that we need mentors is in our personal lives, right? So if you need a mentor, for example, in public speaking, you might join Toastmasters because it's a public speaking club. If you need, and if you're looking for more information about Toastmasters, you can always visit toastmasters.org. So this information, Ms. Aletta, does also relate to mentors outside of the workplace. Maybe you are, thinking about having children. Maybe you need a mentor through parenting. Whatever it is in your outside of work life, choosing a mentor, it's the same idea. Do those same steps, just apply that to whatever other task you're trying to do personally instead of professionally. Victoria?
Aletta, if I may add, there are built-in mentors at conferences where the conference is toward a specific field. All the presenters will give you their information and could be a potential mentor. Continuing education courses, they're very reasonable. They are very specific classes, some of them toward a certificate. Again, built-in mentors. You strike up a relationship just being in the class, and then you will obtain the instructor's contact information for perhaps when the class ends. So those are some ideas for mentors outside of the workplace.
Thanks, Victoria.
I-
And thanks, everyone, for the questions. I'm sorry, Cecilia.
No, it's okay. I just put in the chat the link to the resume writing workshop in case you want to click there and have it so you can watch it later.
All right, keep in touch, everyone. Join us next month for networking. It's been my pleasure to be here this afternoon with you. Thank you so much for sharing the last hour with us. I'm going to turn it back over to Cecilia and Victoria, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Gail, for being here. I think Lana will share her last couple of slides. I want to thank everyone who attended. Again, if anyone wants to learn more about our past topics, you can find them on our website and, under past events. And Lana, if you can, perfect. I just want to share one more time. Thank you, Gail. That was very helpful. And again, if you would like to become a member of the center and support us that way, you can also go to our website and just simply add your name to our mailing list. We do have 2 locations. One is in Queensboro Hall in Kew Gardens, and the other one is in Fort Totten, Bayside. Our email address is info@cwny.org. Contact us if you have any questions, or if you want us to send you any of these links. You can also follow us on social media. Please, reach out, and if there's any topic that you're interested in that has to do with careers, please let us know in the chat or send us an email. I appreciate everyone. Victoria, do you have any?
Just one more thought for Aletta. Also, there are associations for every field, and then further specific for each job description in that field. So associations have built-in mentors. They have not only the conferences, but they have people that will answer your questions about your career advancement.
And if I may just add this, like one of my most valuable experiences in my whole career, I'm a volunteer at the center, but I feel that I've had a career because of our mentor, who was the founder of this organization, Anne Jowen, and she was a mentor to so many of us. And it's incredible how much you can learn, sometimes more than in school, by listening to your mentor, by watching your mentor on the field or at work. So just like encourage everyone to do that. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one other technical question. How do I save the stuff in the chat?
So there are 3 dots where it says 2. There are 3 dots next to the emoji, right on top of where you write. Do you see the 3 dots?
No.
I
3
wonder
dots,
if attendees have it.
3 dots. I'm
So-
using a phone. I'm not using a computer. I'm using a phone.
Okay, so I'm
Oh,
not
I
sure.
see. Yeah. I see the 3 dots on the end. It just says
Okay.
disconnect audio or cancel. It doesn't say anything about.
Oh, no, those are not the 3 dots. The 3 dots I'm talking about are like right on top of the box where you write on your chat. I'm not sure if you can do it on your phone, but if you are interested in the link to the to YouTube, we can send it to you.
Okay.
Is that good? Is that what you wanted to say?
Yeah, I want all the things you have in here. You said
Okay.
follow CWNY on social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
Perfect.
Cecilia, I'll download the chat and I'll send it to.
Yeah, I just did. Perfect. Thank you so much, Victoria. Well,
Thank you, Victoria.
everyone. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day. Gail, thank you so much as always for this super valuable information. And we hope to see you the next month.